Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Factorio. I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. Definitely have been very inconsistent. I've just been really whipped with working on some personal projects of sorts. Things so I've not had as much time lately to dedicate to Factorio as I would have liked. But anyway, let's get into it. One of the things I want to work on today is moving over some of our quality production that we have here and placing it a little bit closer to the actual storage, or I guess not storage, but the actual production of a lot of the quality. But while we do that, one of the interesting things was I figure we can talk about the recent discussion with the Friday facts that have been going on, which I don't know how many of those you guys have been following, but if you're anything like me, I read them every single week, and honestly, as far as I can remember, as far back as middle school, I remember waking up on Fridays before school and reading the different updates that were coming. I still remember back when it was not .12, not .13, we were getting those just honestly amazing updates because I feel like every single week we had just something to look forward to. I mean, not that the ones we've gotten recently have been bad. By no stretch of the imagination have they been bad. It's a little bit sad to see the game kind of start wrapping up. I mean, I'd rather have it wrap up in terms of like, okay, they're done developing it. There's nothing else for them to do. Or at least not that there's nothing else for them to do, but there's no other like major things coming, right? I mean, I think everybody was a little bit shocked when we got Space Age as an actual DLC, just because it wasn't their style of development to get that, right? We only ever had one one single game, right? It was always updated kind of one after another. We never got DLC. There was very little talk of ever actually getting a DLC. So I think once we finally did get one, it was like, oh, okay, this is how we roll. But I think it's honestly worth it. To be completely honest, I think at the end of the day, it is something that was welcomed. I definitely remember when they were kind of going on the hiatus, especially right there during COVID and things. It was like, hey, we don't really know what's next. And take a little bit of a break, but we're gonna figure it out. And they did. I think they did an amazing job figuring out what the next phase of Factorio is. So, kind of reading through these more recent Friday facts, it's been nice and refreshing to see the game grow in that aspect. But it is hard sometimes, I think, reading them where it's like knowing that we're not going to be getting another major Friday facts because it feels like every one we get is just a little bit more little more of that door kind of closing on this chapter of I would say for probably a lot of people, right? Because uh, honestly, I don't know about you, but I definitely grew up on playing Factorio, both in oh, geez, I'm trying to think when the first time I actually started playing Factorio was. It was all the way back in, I think it was not 12, somewhere in there. It was one of the low double-digit numbers, is I think when I started playing. But honestly, I think if it wasn't for, I'm trying to think who I started watching because there were several YouTubers at the time that I was watching who were playing Factorio, and they pretty much sold me on getting the game. And I remember that was one of the few games that I could even play and run. It was more so that I could run on this very old. I mean, even at the time, it was old. I think think it was a Gateway laptop or something. I can't quite remember, but I think that's what I was playing it on. And it chugged at like 20 FPS. Like, it was awful. But you know what? I loved it. I loved the experience. The game hooked me. Got its hooks into me. So I remember as soon as I had a really good computer, then I started playing it more and more because it was a lot more enjoyable, because that was one of the limiting factors. Like, I would never be able to have a factory of this size, this many robots. Plus, back in those days, belts were poorly optimized, and so everybody was going for robots. But of course, even robots at scale weren't fully optimized either yet. I mean, now the game is in a position where you can arguably go either belts or bots. There's less of a one side or the other. But I remember that was, one of the big things for a long time. But anyway, to look at some of the more recent Friday Facts information, they announced that we're getting a new cargo, like, landing unloader. They originally designed it for trains, but then they decided against doing exclusively trains. They ended up deciding to do more kind of just universal designs. That's not what I want. I want this. So that was exciting. And the reason I say that is because I don't know about you, but when you're unloading the cargo station, I feel like that is the main limiting factor for any planet, is the ability to unload. Because if we look here on Aquilo, this is a problem that I ran into here was, where is my cargo unloader? Here. You run into this situation where, specifically on Aquilo, you have to have these heat pipes. So you lose 2 inserters on every single side, and then even if you remove one of these cargo bays, you're still losing a significant amount of throughput that you would otherwise be able to get, and even that is still not a lot of throughput, right? Because if you end up having 1 inserter per item, you're only able to do so many, right? 8 per side. So you either have a bunch of storage that you can't pull from, or you have it all thrown into chests and then have robots, which they acknowledged. They acknowledged the fact that that's what a lot of people are doing. They're doing, where is it here? They're essentially doing this, where you pull it out and throughput it into a chest, but then have your robots, but then you have to have a million roboports nearby just to keep up with the charging. And so they were like, well, we don't really like that. So they changed it. But that was one of those things where I'm like, I think there's a better way of doing it. And they thankfully added it. And they did. I think they're kind of in that stage, right, where they're going through and they're cleaning up a lot of the information, or not, I guess not information, but they're cleaning up a lot of the, like, stragglers for things, whether it's updating the icon or updating entities for 2.0. Because in the most recent one, they announced that they're updating the assembler icon a little bit. Okay, let's turn off alt. But they're updating the look of this, I believe, a little bit, and they're also updating the look of the refinery and some other things to make it match the complexity of the new thing. Because quite frankly, if you look at a recycler and compare it to an assembling machine, like, yes, they match the art style, but like this very clearly has a much more advanced animation. It also has a much more detailed just design and shaders and everything. Like, this looks good, but like there are some small things that it feels like this is in HD, this feels like it's in 720, right? So that was one of the things that they acknowledged and were like, yeah, we're going to go through and update. The other major thing that I'm excited about, I don't think it's in yet. No, it's not. But they announced quality trains, finally. So we're actually getting trains that are going to have quality down here. I believe they are going to get more acceleration, more speed. Cargo wagons are finally getting an update in terms of their quality. Here with the storage, same thing with the fluid wagon. I believe even the artillery, which gets more range and things. Or no, it already does get that. I think they added something to this, if I wasn't mistaken. But so that's nice to see, and I think they actually added this to get quality too. So there have been a lot of things that they've been doing over the last like 2 or 3 Friday facts, which I've been very excited about seeing. The other thing that I saw was, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but they announced that they will be working on getting more time for their next project, but they don't know what their next project is going to be yet, and they're still internally testing it. So I'm like, well, I'll be excited to see what comes. What comes next. Let's see, crafting speed of 5, yeah. So that's actually pretty good. I mean, it's not a significant upgrade, but it's fast enough. So my question is, why is this one? Is it just not getting the throughput? Oh, it is. Why is this one able to keep up? Why are these two able to keep up? This one isn't. Oh, you know, I wonder if the reason these can't keep up isn't because of the... I mean, obviously it is because they can't keep up, right? It's not it's the throughput issue here. But I wonder if the reason these two are keeping up is because robots are pulling from these two storage units first, meaning items are more likely to be used than go into storage, which is preventing them to end up down here into the legendary recycling section. Which I bet is exactly what's happening. But, yeah. What can we do to get more quality modules? Why does this shut down? We need more green circuits. That, I think we can solve in 2 different ways. We can either... There we go. I'm like, what's the key button? We can either make green circuits, which we have the stuff to do. So it honestly just makes sense for us to do it. So for green circuits, we can make them in this. So let's see, do we have... I don't actually know if we do. The hard thing is I don't know an easy way to find out. Is if we have any electromagnetic plants. If we do, they're going to be in one of these chests, because I can't imagine we have 3. Because I can't imagine we would have... Oh, we have some here. Oh, hold up, we have a ton of recyclers. Okay, let me go use these really quick. See, that's what I was looking for earlier. Somebody probably is going to comment that I just walked right past those things. And you know what? You would absolutely be correct. I just was blind as a bat. That's what happens when I start talking. I can't do 2 things. At least I can't talk and do... mental planning. It also doesn't help that I'm playing this game at like 11. I'm super tired from doing room improvement things and just a couple other things. Hey, this is probably why you've heard me yawn more than usual. I hope whatever game that they end up coming out with next, they also do a Friday Facts for, because that is quite frankly like the one thing that I looked forward to every single week, both in middle school and even in high school. And to a degree, kind of in college, when they had more active development after COVID and stuff. Because that definitely made It made Friday. It was like that weekly show, right? That everybody would look forward to, where it was like, oh man, I wonder what's coming on this week, or I wonder what's gonna happen this week. But you know, I think no matter what, it's still gonna be good. Okay. So the legendary ones have a crafting speed of 1, basically. So that's pretty good. And we'll take the regular recyclers we just grabbed. We'll throw them in here to be scrapped. And then I'm going to throw those in there for right now. So that should work. Let's go ahead. I don't see any more electromagnetic plants here on the planet. At least. Oh, we have 56 somewhere. Let me go ahead and request those. Let's do 56. Okay. Honestly, I'm excited for what we're gonna see out of Factorio for sure. My goal this weekend, actually no, my goal Wednesday, because I'm gonna be busy tomorrow, but my goal Wednesday is to try to record a second video for the week, so that way there'll be something for Friday. And then my goal this weekend is to do 2 or 3 episodes so we can try to catch back up and grind out the rest of getting to the Shattered Planet, finishing Big Bertha, which honestly, Big Bertha, I mean, I know for a fact Big Bertha can't get there, but. And the only reason I say Big Bertha can't is because of the lack of artillery guns, or rail guns, excuse me. But we could probably retrofit Big Bertha, but we'll see. I'm curious to see how it works. um, but right now we need to take a shift away from designing it to getting all the infrastructure here on Fulgora built out so we can actually produce what we need. I think my goal Wednesday for our second video this week. Somebody hold me to that, by the way. Yell at me in the comment section. I think my goal for the week, or I guess the theme of the next video, is we're gonna clean Fulgora up over here a little bit. We're gonna rip apart the old rail section that we're not using anymore. We're going to move, or not move. We're gonna get rid of these 5 scrappinators, and then the rockets we honestly are probably fine right there, but we might move them slightly over. The cargo landing pad we are going to move from over here because it doesn't make sense for it to be in the science area. Literally, the only thing that this area is good for is making science. That is it. It is making nothing else for us. All it does is science. For now. What I think we might eventually do is convert this area into science as well, into something larger. Part of me wants to move all of this down here, which is going to be a pain because there's no island, and then eventually give us the ability to copy and paste this a whole bunch and do a whole nother one next to it, and then just have that much more stuff getting brought in. The only other thing I can think of, well, actually, no, we can't boost this with speed because speed reduces quality, so never mind. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I think that sounds like a good plan. Again, somebody hold me to the second episode this week so we can actually start getting caught back up. And with that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.